I'm going to take this at a little slower pace. I told everybody 2 weeks ago, this is a 2-hour special. And they were like, no, you don't have enough stuff. Yeah, I didn't even get to number 6 or number 7 on the board, and we raced through everything. I'm going to take this a little slower, and I even brought Jason in, who has been working with me on this for years. And I think he's a little weirded out that it is all here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am too. I am too.
I was just glancing through all of our shows over the past couple months to pull some of the things, and I was like, it's all connected. Everything. All the people, all the organizations, everything.
Everything. That impeachment special, to really understand what was going on in Ukraine, explains half of this.
Oh my gosh.
And it's all the same people.
Yeah, when we were doing the Ukraine special, it was about something completely different. I didn't think that the same model was going to be used here.
I said something before we get back to the chalkboard. I said something during the show where we were racing, if you could keep up with it. I said, I don't think that this is what their plan was. I don't think they planned on doing this.
Right.
Okay? I mean, progressives don't want a revolution. They know Americans, it's hard to pull off, okay? Americans reject it, and you're seeing it with BLM. They had a 75% rating, approval rating. They were more popular than the military 3-4 months ago. Now they're in the 20s. Americans don't like that. But I think the Marxists were like, no, we have worked so long, and this guy shouldn't have won, because it was just going to be a slow flip. And that's what progressives wanted. But now Donald Trump is there like a wrecking ball, and he's destroying all of their plans. And so I think they had to go into this and say, you know what, we've already done it. Let's just do it here.
The 7 pillars was the red button. That was like, oh crap, push the red button.
Yeah, and do you agree? I don't think any of them thought of doing that. But it was, guys, we're out of options. We're out of options. We don't do it now, we're not going to get a chance.
Absolutely. Like what you laid out on your watch list.
Yeah.
Media, education, government, military, money. They had everything. Everything was going to plan. And that's the Fabian plan. It's to infiltrate slowly. That's the neo-Marxist plan. Slowly. Because the Marxist revolutions of the past and the Soviet Union, that was not the way to go.
Right.
They had to attack.
No shot fired.
Not a shot fired.
Not a shot fired.
Right.
Yep. Marxists got much smarter and realized you don't have to have a revolution. You don't have to have that. You can just slowly just flip it.
I think so they had 8 years of Barack Obama. Everything was going great. They knew for a fact it was a shoo-in that Hillary Clinton was going to win that election. They were all just flabbergasted, shocked on election day. I think they believed that 4 years of Hillary Clinton and it was done. They would have it at that point.
They were probably right.
Yeah.
Probably right. All right, so let me finish and go to number 6, because there's a couple of really important things in here. You know, I said in the show, they got those things. But let me show you some really stunning things. Number 6 is a political opposition capable of mobilizing tens of thousands or more demonstrators to come to protest electoral fraud. They have that. You know that. We know that. Antifa, BLM, prepped and organized. This has been a trial run over the last few months. This is not what they're doing. This is the trial run. There was nothing happening compared to what's going to happen on election night. What if the left decides to declare electoral fraud? You want to know why the left refused to call BLM and a Marxist organization? Why they refused to condemn the rioting and the violence? Because they need them. That's the bottom up. They are the people that are going to rise up and say voter fraud in the streets. That's what they need. The Daily Beast recently reported that the left has been secretly planning for violence after Election Day. They have been wargaming on what might happen. Now, this is a leftist paper. This is a signal to all of the socialists and all the radicals. We gotcha. We know what we're doing. Don't worry, nothing's going to stop us. There were 50 leftist organizations, including people like John Podesta and even Bill Kristol. I told you, hashtag resistance and Never Trumpers are together in this. They have just gone bat crazy. So who organized the meeting? Well, something called the Fight Back Table. It's an initiative put on by Democracy Alliance. George Soros. I mean, what would a Glenn Beck broadcast be without George Soros at the center of all of it? He's there funding color revolutions for the past few decades all over the world. Do you think he's going to sit this one out? One source told the Daily Beast what Fight Back Table's mission was, and it was this, quote, to occupy shit, hold space, and shut things down, not just on election day, but for weeks. Now listen to this. The war game centered around this document, we'll show you here, this document on Transition Integrity Project. This includes multiple scenarios of how they're going to deal with various outcomes of the election. If you think using the word revolution in civil war is hyperbolic, I want you to listen to the scenario. And I'm going to quote, but first let me set it up. This is John Podesta. They're in a war game. Yep. And he's got a lot of people who are the Biden. He's playing Biden. Yes. Okay. John Podesta, White House operative. He's wargaming this. He's playing Joe Biden. And this scenario is what happens if after the count, Donald Trump still is the winner. Right. So anything that this transition team is saying, oh, we're just trying to stop violence. No. Why would you war game? You as Biden and the Biden team, what do you do if after all of the shenanigans, he's still won? Right. Right? Exactly. So they through all the other different scenarios, they're like, okay, there's electoral fraud. We're going to say that. We're going to, organizers, people out in the streets. This is what we're going to say Biden's going to have to say to start combating the narrative. But if all else fails, if after all the votes come in and Trump still won, we have all this leverage to still push. What can we get out of Donald Trump? What can we get out of him? What if we say, okay, fine, we'll let you have this win, but we want these things first. Now listen to what this is what they war game. This is what the Biden campaign, quote unquote, in this war game with Biden being played by Podesta. This is what they said. The Biden campaign encouraged Western states, particularly California, but also Oregon and Washington, collectively known as Cascadia, to secede from the Union unless congressional Republicans agreed to a set of structural reforms to fix our democratic system to ensure majority rule. So in other words, no more constitutional convention, or what do you call it? Electoral college. No more electoral college. With advice from President Obama, the Biden campaign submitted a proposal to, 1, give statehood to Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico, and to divide California into 5 states to more accurately represent its population in the Senate. 3, require Supreme Court justices to retire at 70. And 4, eliminate the Electoral College to ensure that a candidate who wins the popular vote becomes president. That's what the transition team that is just trying to make sure that we don't have any shenanigans going on. This is what they war gamed that Biden should do if it gets down to Trump won election night, then the recount, he won that again. What do we do to get what we want? Threatening the thing that actually started civil war in the last Civil War, secession. I mean, that sounds ridiculous, but that was actually their plan. But you brought up a good point. If it's not about ensuring the election is not fraudulent, what are you doing? What are they really doing? The war game should have stopped. He won both things. What do? We apologize. We apologize. Okay, that's what you do. You don't say Cascadia. By the way, the word Cascadia jumps off the page at me. Don't know if you remember. I've told the story a couple of times. I don't know if I've said Cascadia before. Back in 1998, 99, I remembered something from one of Vladimir Putin's advisors. And he said a civil war and a breakup of America is coming. How do I know? Let's just say we have people in place. And it will break up into 5 different states, 5 different regions. And one of them would be called Cascadia. And it would include Washington, Oregon, and California.
Who's colluding with Russians again?
Yeah, who's colluding with Russia here? I mean, this is the destruction of America. All right. The number 7 is divisions among the regime's coercive forces. Now, coercive forces, I put up on the chalkboard, that is the military and the police, but it's also district attorneys.
Sure. Yep.
Right? Which Soros owns. I showed you how a bunch of high elected officials or high government officials have already rebuked the president on things. How many active members of the military actually agree with Colonel Vindman? How many people in the deep state CIA? How many people that actually have some of the levers to create a division between Donald Trump and the military are there? I want to show you the Atlantic made the ridiculous claim that Trump called veterans who died war losers and suckers. Why? There were 4 whistleblowers or 4 unidentified sources, but everybody who was actually there, including John Bolton, said it never happened. John Bolton would throw Donald Trump under the bus in a heartbeat. Now, at first you might assume it's the media. It's just the media. But then I saw a tweet from the author of The 7 Pillars. Remember I told him about you a minute ago, Michael McFaul? Here's what he said. He's now lost the State Department. He's lost the military. How can he continue to serve as our commander-in-chief? Our soldiers, diplomats, and agents deserve better. Look at that. Is that a signal that the 7th pillar is now set? These are not actions from people that believe that they will win. If they won and it was fair and square, then I just say, America, you deserve what you're getting. But America as we know it is over. If we don't know this, if we don't stand against it, if we don't expose it every step of the way, the media is not going to do it. And I'm telling you right now, I had a guest on today's radio show. He said something I haven't even thought of, but boy, does this make sense. Have you seen how the media is lately, Facebook, Twitter, they say they have a responsibility. They may not even they're not going to do political ads for the last 2 weeks. And they don't want any political things, for the last, maybe election day. And then afterwards, they need to make sure that everything is on the up and up because of this great red mirage. And so they don't want anybody saying that Donald Trump won last night in a landslide. Imagine seeing the numbers. Imagine seeing the numbers on election night, and it's a landslide. And not saying this is a landslide. This is going to be hard to beat. Remember, if it's a landslide, if it was like a Ronald Reagan and Walter Mondale situation where it was 49 states, I don't think that's going to happen. But I don't know. Imagine if then I get on the air and say, I'm just trying to figure out how many votes you have to count that didn't show up at the polls to make this go away. How is that even possible, seeing it's only done in California, Oregon, Washington, the states where all the states that are burning down now because they're so leftist. How are you going to reverse that? This guest said, the first thing that's going to happen is Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, they're all going to ban the president. And they won't let him make his case to the people. And no mainstream media outlet will do that either. And I thought, I don't know if they do that to the president first. Maybe they do. But they do us either right before or right after. any voice that is saying something is wrong, we're off Twitter, we're off Facebook, we're off YouTube, we're banished, all in the name of safety.
What's crazy is that sounds exactly. I had to suffer through. If you remember the Event 201 show that you did, and for everyone that watched that, I had to suffer through listening to the whole thing. A big part of it was controlling information, and they wanted everything filtered through one propaganda outlet. Basically, they did not want social media talking out of place, out of turn, talking about whatever virus, talking about coronavirus, whatever. They didn't want even certain media outlets even talking about it. They just wanted to filter everything through the WHO. That was their outlet, and everything came through there. They didn't want anybody else talking about it.
It's already happening.
And it goes into the 7 pillars. You have to have a compliant media.
Mm-hmm.
That is their WHO in this scenario.
And that and Facebook, not only the media, but the social media.
Yep.
And they'll silence people, and that will only cause more confusion and more angry. I mean, look at what's been done to conservatives. They have been mocked, they've been ridiculed. Nobody has listened to them. Nobody has invited them to the table. Even their own party has mocked and ridiculed and failed to listen and respond to them. You've got a group of amazing people that have not lashed out. Not lashed out. It's going to be very hard not to lash out when you're seeing your country being stolen. But I'm telling you, everything is set against you if you lash out. You have to follow the president. You have to follow what's, authority. At least authority that you respect. You have to follow that and the Constitution. If we strike out, because I think that there are going to be people, the white supremacists, they want to overthrow the United States government too. Anyone who wants to overthrow the United States government, all they have to do is just start a fight.
Think about the brilliance of the plan, because our Americans' first response to any kind of tyranny is to stand up to it. The problem is that their plan, that's what it plays into. It requires another side to get involved in a scuffle to start in the streets. It requires that. So it goes against every American's impulses to say, I'm not going to be a part of that. I am going to step back, let cooler heads prevail, and hopefully, Donald Trump, the presidency, the executive, the people that are in power are going to be able to take control of this without seizing too much control, obviously. But it's going to be so hard for people to step back from that.
I need your assistance as an audience. I need you to be absolute leaders, and I need you to inform your friends. I need you to print these documents. Can we make all the documents from everything available at glennbeck.com? We need to make them all available for you, but you need to not quote me. You need to just make this all your own. And you have to know it inside and out, because things are going to start happening quickly. And we have 6 or 7 weeks till the election.
Gosh, is that soon? Yeah.
And honestly, in 10 weeks, we could be off the air. We'd still have, hopefully, theblaze.com, but I could be off. I can't imagine how they could take me off if Donald Trump is still on, but we will be off of social media. We'll have no impact there. And I need to know in the next 6 weeks, what do you need to know? I've told the staff we have to just focus on this, because you have to understand this inside and out. We have to show you everything involved and just keep going over it. But what else do you need? How else can we best serve you in these next 7 weeks? I have always believed that this audience was going to be the one that would save America. Whew. That time is now here. That time is now here. And whether we save it in whole or we save it in remnants, it will be up to you. And everyone who understands that God is our master. Let us know. Stay in touch. Stay filled with hope, because things are going to change. It's inevitable. Things are going to change. I don't know for the better or the worse, but things are going to change. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. And I know if we keep our heads about us and we stick together, we're going to get to the other side of this. And I, for one, happen to believe that Jesus is coming soon anyway, so he'll sort all of that out. But we have to be the people we were born to be. I believe the people we coveted with God to be before we were born, and fulfill our mission and return home with honor. Wow, a show I never thought I would do. From Dallas, good night.